Hello, this is Crowgazer Paranormal, and welcome to my podcast. I am Melissa. We're going to be talking about Colonel Park Cemetery in Savannah, Georgia. Savannah, Georgia's oldest impact cemetery, established in 1750, the closest to the new burials of 1853, now a historical park in the city's historical district. It holds over 9,000 graves, including the Revolutionary War. Figures that Bunton, Gwinnett, and Lincoln McCollist victims. In 1820, yellow fever epidemic, Civil War era, vandalism making the popular site for the historical and ghost tours. It established in 1750, Savannah's primary public cemetery in 1853. Historical district, academic, Civil War Union soldiers camped there and leaving behind massive graffiti of some headstones. Dueling grounds of served as the dwelling ground of 1740 of 1877. Status: a public park is walking paths and historical markers, monuments, family plots, and Der Patriot's Ark. Known for its historical beauty and the paranormal activities attached to both history buffers and ghost tour groups. Colonel Cemetery, Savannah is one of the city's oldest, most visited burial grounds, established in 1950. It covered 6 peaceful acres of cemetery of the historical district trail, oak trees hanging in the Spanish moss, weather headstones, lines, and walkways in every direction. During the day of the grounds feel calm and reflected. At night, the stillness deepens and many visitors say the air feels heavy as if they were past still lingers, and nearby thousands of people were laid to rest, including soldiers and cities and leaders and the families, helping shape Savannah's for the years to come. Guides and ghost tours and gravestone tours often describe Colonel Park Cemetery, Savannah, the most active haunted place in the United States, of the tour of the cemetery there. In this time, it often describes Colonel Park Cemetery, Savannah, as one of the most active and haunted in its town. The site's a city with many stories of lost charge of Savannah's place as history feels close enough to touch. What makes this haunted is the Colonel Park Cemetery, Savannah holds more than graves. It preserves centuries of stories of afterlife, hardship, and endurance, as some of the oldest marks date back in 1750s. The oldest mark date back in 1750s, with Savannah was still small coastal and settlements. Over time, some fires and some passings of the year damaged many of the original markers, leaving parts of the cemetery full unnamed graves. Before this all happened, visitors who walk through the paths often describe the feeling of stepping into the space. Even the stones never have any names on them. The quiet surroundings of these stones and uneven headstones along the history made Colonel Park Cemetery the city of the students, a discovering historical area. And they studied this as they walked in and out of this place. In 1820, yellow fever swept through Savannah and claimed 100 of the lives within weeks. The city overwhelmed as the north of the Colonel Park Cemetery, Savannah, became the final resting place of many other victims. Burials were hurried, and most of the graves were left without names and marks today. That area feels different from the rest of the cemetery. Many visitors say the sense of quiet sorrow walking through this section. During this time, the early 19th century duels was a common, and defending the honor in Savannah Culinary Park Cemetery became a final resting place for several men who met their fate and encountered among the past. James Wild, memorized and by the marker known as Duelist's Grave through the Wild Duel, took the place across the river, South Carolina. His grave will stand. Here is the lasting symbol of Savannah's stories past and deep ties to them in honor of pride and loss. When upon troops the Savannah during the Civil War, Colonial Park Cemetery became part of the encampment soldiers. Sorry, I can't say things sometimes, guys. Just bear with me with this. Use family vitals and shelter and spend time at night among the graves. Local accounts tell the stones being moved, named being scattered away from new dates carved into marble. Some markets still known strange alterations that no one has ever corrected. Many people believe that disrespect shown to the dead during the time disturbed the peace, and the cemetery visitors have noticed irregular stones that may have been sight feel restless, as if they past remembers what happened. Many Savannah earliest residents are led with the rest within the walls. The Colony Park Cemetery Savannah's each headstone's memorial shares past of the city's story, stretching from the founding years through the periods of the growth of hardship. Walking among the rows, graves, and often visitors, quiet glimpse into the how deeply historical ruins here. One of the most recognized names and associated with the cemetery is Button Gwinnett, one of the Georgian signers of the Declaration of Independence of the monument. Within the cemetery is honoring him. Though the historian still debates whether it is marked his actual burial site or severe as a contempt nearby rest. Archibald Butler, who led Georgia during the Revolutionary War period and recognized as the state's first governor. His leaders during the transition of culinary statehood remains pride as Savannah's heritage. General Lincoln McIntosh, another Revolutionary War figure, was memorized here, known both for his military severe and for his service. Both known for his military service and information dual claimed Button Gwinnett life, James Herbisham, Sir Merchant, and culinary leader loyal to Crown, and buried here as well as his son James Herbisham Jr. James Herbisham Jr. became prominent revolutionary after the war. Family plot throughout Culinary Park Cemetery Savannah's held teachers, doctors, townships who held commonly thrive among the small market of children during the academic. These memorials and graves preserve the stories of these built Savannah through the courage, faith, and perseverance of reading the name carved into the stones, connections, visitors, and people who once walked these same streets, helping shape the city that stands today. Historian Colonial Park's cemetery live in not only in the ghost stories, but also enduring the legacy of these remembering within the walls. Visitors of Colonial Park Cemetery can be the most memorable parts of the trip of the city, and also done with care. The site, burial grounds, and piecing of living history, the visitors also shown respect. Culinary Park Cemetery, scared place that has stood centuries during not walk across the headstones, lean grave markers, or touch any part of the So during this time, people are not allowed to touch anything when they go to this grave site because they don't want anything to be touched because it's so fragile and all that stuff. So there are daytime visitors. Daytime visitors have an idea of photography and learning about the people buried here. Many visitors come and see the graves, and historical visitors come to see the graves, historical figures, and Button Gwinnett, and signatures of declared an independence. The light through the oak trees, giving the cemetery quiet beauty and captures Savannah's sense of time and place. So the nighttime tours are the culinary century of the Savannah's closest. It is the gates to the public at night. The tours are permitted inside after dark instead of tours such as Ghost Town and Trolleys. And the trolleys that they go on and pass by the cemetery's perimeter with guides and share the eerie tales of the buried, and with the historical walls and selecting occasions, ghosts, and gravestones, and other ghost locals tours and also pass by the site. Parts of the routine offering guests glimpse into the haunted location and legacy without entering the grounds. Listening to the spine-tingling stories about the cast members, helping visitors understand the Culinary Park Cemetery remains Savannah's most haunted and historical significant landmarks. So people are allowed to use cameras and everything when they do this and everything else. So when they do this, they can do all that stuff. They do have tour guides, all that stuff, everything else. And when you go here, there's tours of everything. Tours of daytime, tours of nighttime, all that stuff. This is Savannah, Georgia. Georgia is really haunted, you guys. So when this happens, you can go there. There's several times a day in the day that you can go and take these tours. You can go there by yourself, do all that stuff, everything. At night, they have different types of tours too. So this cemetery is most records, the most active culinary park that is in Savannah, a bit more active than most, in quite a deadly track record of its 700 burial in Culinary Park lie in mass grave victims in the yellow fever. Cemetery practical estimated paranormal activity, but Culinary Park Cemetery in Savannah is a bit more active than most. It is quite deadly track record. About 700 of those burial in culinary lie in the mass grave victims of the yellow fever epidemic in 1820. The grounds were also once used as a duels when men used to duke it out and settle their differences. That area was now a children's park, and why? But at night can allegedly see the ghosts of those who fought their deaths. And the cemetery was best known for a ghost, however, who goes by their name Renee Round Dollar. I think that's how you say their name. Legend is the Round Dollar murder. 2 girls were in the cemetery, later executed through the historical records. Debunked and extinct, he's often seen swinging from the hanging tree, where he died, and considered an easily spot was nearly several feet tall from the day. Spanning nearly 6 acres, Culinary Park Cemetery survived as a city of primary public cemetery in 1853. Over 9,000 intimate, including Button, Gwinnett, and Singler, and description of independence. If I'm saying these names wrong, please forgive me. I'm not trying to. So here are the things that we see here. The Culinary Cemetery of Savannah Ghost is famous ghost for the legend like giant phantom Renee Ronduller. I think that's how you say her name. Eerie green mist, mass yellow fever. Renee Ronduller, a myth says a 7-foot tall murderer and Lynch were her grand shadow still walks through the historical records, providing taken tale false. Green mist. Victorious talks about eerie mist light floating softly above the old headstones at dusk. Disembodied voices, people reporting hearing whispers, crying footsteps when the park is completely empty. Dark history behind the myths. Yellow fever in 1820, epidemic killer, nearly 700 people leading the massive unmarked burial trenches. Paved over graved in 1896, city pushed back in the cemetery boundaries for new sidewalks, meeting roads, and footpaths now sit directly over the human remains. So this means that they're buried over human remains. Duels of city war. Troops occupied this site during the Civil War, was many men died from fighting and brutal duels in 18th century and 19th century. To see all this, would you like to visit the hours? No. So that's what I found out about this place, the Culinary Cemetery in Savannah. It's very pretty, you guys. It's an 18th and 19th century burial ground located downtown Savannah, Georgia. It became the city park in 1896 and it opened to visitors. It's the most haunted in Savannah, Georgia. And it's a historical park. You guys can go visit. You can go to day tours and night tours and all that stuff, you know. You can get tickets to this place. It's one of the most haunted places down there. It's famous for statues and lingering spirit little Grace Watson. She was 6 years old, who died in 1889, whom visited the claim that seeing playing near the grave. Other reports, phantom crying, giggling children, snarling visitors, and dogs among Spanish moss. Depending oaks. There's a history, a midnight garden, and the good and the evil, famous for lifetime statues, and history formed from the locations: bluff overlooking the Willington River, southeast of downtown. Haunted legend calls for phantom central. Visitors report eerie green mist all over the place, floating graves, phantom figures lurking near the rear walls, disembodied whispers, voices, screams in the dark, 17 dual grounds, heavily headstones, rearranging broken during the Civil War, occupied, and just seeing like the men that were there that were part of the army of the war or whatever it is they had there, the war, part of the war in the 1750 and 1800s. And there's 9,000 graves over there, and there's 600 headstones remained. And some of them got replaced over buildings and all that stuff, you know. So, yeah. There's a lot of things that they see in this graveyard. So, you guys, if you go down to Savannah, Georgia, and see the Colonial Park Cemetery, you can do tours during the day, and then you can go do tours at night. So this was on the Culinary Park and Cemetery in Savannah, Georgia, you guys. So you guys, I hope everyone's having a good day so far, and their week is gonna go well. And so this was the end of the Culinary Park of Cemetery in Savannah, Georgia. Thank you for watching my podcast, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm glad that you guys come here and watch my podcast, and it makes me super happy to have you guys here. It makes me super happy for you guys to be here and watch my podcast over here on YouTube. I'm thinking about maybe putting a couple of them over on TikTok, you guys. Yes, I have a TikTok. Yes, I have YouTube. Yes, I have an Instagram. It's under Crowgazer Paranormal, you guys. I'm growing over here. I'm glad that I am. Thank you guys for even enjoying and watching and all that stuff. I do go live over on TikTok, and sometimes if I'm gonna start growing over here, then I'm gonna start going live over here, you guys. I just want you guys to understand that I am so grateful for you, and I always will be. Thank you guys, and I will see you again. Bye-bye.